Britain's news channel. You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Well, good evening. You're watching State of the Nation on GB News with me, Alex Armstrong, standing in from the indomitable Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg. On the programme tonight, the ISIS bride Shamima Begum has had her bid to return to the UK given a new lease of life after European judges ordered the Home Office to justify stripping her of her British citizenship. And we're going to cross live to our reporters ahead of tonight's New Year's Eve celebrations. I wonder what they're all going to be up to. And Iranian security forces beat up and fired tear gas at protesters as the Islamic Republic struggled to contain its biggest outbreak of unrest in years. And joining me tonight, I've got TV infamy, Benjamin Butterworth. I'm also joined by TV royalty, Christo Fufas. The two of you make a very interesting show tonight, I'm sure. Well, as ever, let me know what you think. gbnews.com/your say. And of course, it's New Year's Eve, so tell me what your favourite State of the Nation show has been this year. Probably one that I've been hosting. I don't know. Right, we've got some live pictures of Dubai. Apparently, let's go and see what they are ringing in the new year. Well, there we go. There they are. They just rang it in the last minute. Of course, the famous Burj Khalifa there. They always put on such a stunning show, don't they? They've got their fountains. They always line up those beautiful fireworks alongside that massive building there. Dubai obviously putting on a great show for all the holidaymakers. Have either of you two been to Dubai? Benjamin, you spend a lot of time in the Middle East.
I do. I've been to Dubai many times. Do you know what? Lots of people look down on Dubai, but I think it's really a fabulous place. And you look at these images tonight of their New Year's, and few places in the world could put on something quite so special.
It was a desert, 20 years ago, wasn't it, Dubai? Now it's a thriving hub for international travellers all over the world. Chris,
I've never been, but I think it would be too unfamiliar to me to go to a place where ambition is liked. People don't have to pay a fortune in tax. People work hard and get to keep more of their own money. I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to acclimatise. I would find it too alien. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of Brits there at the moment, aren't there? It's been one of the top destinations for wealthy British people to evacuate Labour's tax hikes over the last year. Lots of Brits going to Dubai, and it will be I would have thought it would be relatively warm this time of year, but there we go. Right, listen, we are going to be back with you on State of the Nation in just a second. Let's go and hear your news headlines from Sam Francis.
Very good evening to you. The top stories from the GB newsroom. A nurse injured in yesterday's attack at a Merseyside hospital says she was nearly beaten to death. 28-year-old Meg Lynch says she was struck from behind with a metal bar at Newton Community Hospital. She suffered head injuries that required CT scans and stitches. Police say a 20-year-old Afghan man was arrested at the scene after being refused appointments and has since been detained under the Mental Health Act. The government has tonight been accused of embarrassing failures of due diligence over the case of British-Egyptian activist Alaa Abdel Fattah. In a letter to the Foreign Secretary, the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Emily Thornberry, said ministers could have avoided problems by appointing a promised envoy for complex detention cases. It comes amid controversy over historic social media posts by Mr Abdel Fattah, with some MPs calling for his British citizenship to be stripped. Downing Street, though, says the comments were abhorrent, but insists Britain still has a duty to support citizens unlawfully detained abroad. Eurostar services through the Channel Tunnel have returned to normal after major disruption ahead of New Year's Eve. Thousands of passengers were delayed on Tuesday after an overhead power fault and a broken-down Le Shuttle train blocked routes between the UK and France. Most services from London St Pancras International are now running, though Eurostar is warning of possible knock-on delays and last-minute cancellations. Passengers affected by the disruption are being offered enhanced compensation. And as fireworks light up the skies across parts of Asia, anticipation is growing in other parts of the world as 2026 approaches. There are still a few hours to go across Europe. Here in London, we're gearing up to welcome New Year's Eve with Europe's largest fireworks display as crowds gather along the Thames for the countdown to midnight. More than 12,000 fireworks are expected to launch under clear skies, though the Met Office warns it will be a cold night with frost and brisk winds across much of the UK. Meanwhile, celebrations are already underway in places like Dubai, Beijing and in Sydney as the new year begins to roll in across the globe. Those are your GB News headlines. Plenty more still to come right here.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Listen, we want to show you some more of those beautiful fireworks in Dubai, UAE. Of course, here we are. I'm sure many of you Brits might even be tuning in from Dubai. You might be watching GB News right now while these beautiful fireworks are taking place. Again, UAE now is one of the places we tune in to watch these fireworks. And of course, many countries all over the world are celebrating fireworks. And UAE never used to be up there, did it? It never used to be one of those big countries that we would chuck into the TVs to watch the fireworks displays. But now they're one of the ones we tune in for.
Yeah, I mean, this looks fantastic. You know, they've got both Dubai and Abu Dhabi that do fabulous shows. And I think, you know, the world now lives in the UAE. And so it's no wonder that the world would watch such a fantastic show. But actually, you know, around the Burj Khalifa, which is the ginormous statue that's the centre of tonight's fireworks, they have a fountain show and a light show every Friday evening, which I've been to see and is incredible. And so, you know, I think maybe, I mean, we do a fantastic job in London, it has to be said, but we could certainly take some ideas at the very least from Dubai.
Well, yeah. I mean, because they look like actual fireworks rather than environmentally friendly drones. And what I do find in London, which makes me want to vomit most of the time, is that they are the Mayor of London fireworks, introduced by the Mayor of London, because the Mayor of London puts them on. And then there's a Mayor of London logo at the start, and then there's a Mayor of London logo at the end, because any chance for that repellent little runt to promote himself rather than the actual event, which is New Year, of course he will. And this year in London, they've closed Primrose Hill, a beautiful vantage point where people get the chance to go and look at the fireworks, and of course, miseries in our city have chosen to close it. When I was driving here, it was absolute gridlock on most of the bridges that were open. Why? Because they're putting barriers along all the bridges, because heaven forbid anyone should want to view the fireworks without a ticket and handing over ID to that repellent little man. Oh, the ID, by the way, that he opposed when it came to voting, but he doesn't mind when it comes to fireworks. Happy New Year.
Christo, such humbug that they've actually ended the fireworks in Dubai. Would you like to come back to any of that, Benjamin?
No, I won't engage in the petty little nonsense that Christo delves into, but I do think that Dubai looks fantastic, I really do, and I think it's one of those places that, you know, I think a lot of Britons go to Sydney for New Year's Eve, which was obviously early this afternoon.
And I've done that.
That looks fantastic. I'd love to do it, but I think these images from Dubai really do look quite fabulous, and also, I mean, it must cost a fortune because this goes on for quite a while.
Well, I bet it does cost a fortune, but they have the money for it, don't they? I mean, they have the money for it in Dubai, of all the places. I mean, you look, I mean, I have been to Dubai a couple of times, actually, and you just see the wealth poured into the shopping centres, poured into the new buildings, poured into their infrastructure, and they wonder why they can put on such a beautiful display. It's probably costing them a fraction of the money they make in a day.
Clean streets, good manners, proper fireworks.
Good policing, good fireworks. There we go. right, well, look, I think we're going to leave it there for the UAE because we could be here for half the show by the looks of things. Anyway, welcome back to State of the Nation with me, Alex Armstrong. Should we get started? We brought Darren Grimes back not that long ago. Should we bring Shamima Begum back? The ISIS jihadi bride could soon be on her way back to Britain. Judges in the foreign court, that is the ECHR, have now stepped in, interrogating the Home Office over its decision to strip her of citizenship. They're suggesting her human rights may have been breached. The rights of Begum, who voluntarily left Britain to join an Islamist terrorist group, are now apparently a higher priority than the safety and common sense of the British public. Let me just remind you what Shamima Begum herself said openly to the British press. She said this: "When I saw my first severed head in a bin, it didn't faze me at all. It was from a captured fighter seized on the battlefield, an enemy of Islam. I thought it was normal." That was an interview she gave to The Times in February 2019. And when asked if she regretted her decision to join ISIS, she said this: "In a way, yes, but I don't regret it because it's changed me as a person. It's made me stronger, tougher. I married my husband. I wouldn't have found someone like him back in the UK." It's just incredible when you hear that stuff, isn't it? It's incredible.
I've got to say, I wouldn't be so sure, actually, the way the UK's going.
Oh, yeah, you never know, Christo. And yet, you can bet the ECHR are going to instruct our government, that loves international courts, by the way, that she's going to need a plane ticket back here to Britain. Well, her lawyers at Bernberg Pierce are calling this an unprecedented opportunity. Well, they're right. Unprecedented in the sense that a woman who aligned herself with one of the most brutal terror groups on earth is being treated as a victim of the British state. The timing is quite telling too. It's just as the Prime Minister welcomed convicted extremist Alaa Abd El Fattah with open arms. The ECHR has all of a sudden decided it's time to lecture Britain on morality. The hypocrisy is almost quite impressive, isn't it? This is what happens when foreign courts and human rights lawyers are allowed to override democratic decisions. British citizenship becomes a revolving door. Join a terrorist group, bear some children, and when you're done, just pop back home to Britain and raise them all here. And that would be the moral of the story the ECHR might tell us. If anyone still needs a reason to question our continued membership of the ECHR, this is it. Because if protecting Britain's borders, laws and security is now considered a human rights violation, then the system isn't unfit. It's actively working to put British people at serious risk of unending terrorism. Well, you've already spoken to my panel. Benjamin Butterworth and Christo Fufas are here. Christo, I'll start with you. Should Shamima Begum be brought back to Britain?
Now, don't have me burst into flames for this or come and attack me. I did feel sorry for her when she was a child. She was groomed and...
But she doesn't regret it, Christo.
But that's the point. That's the point. Now, as an adult, she's made many, many comments showing that she didn't regret it. She, even as an adult, praised the Manchester terror attack, the horrific arena bombing. And so, at that point, had she only had those acts of the ridiculous act of joining ISIS when she was a child or not of age, and then shown nothing but regret and contrition since, I would have some sympathy. I'd still have some concerns, but some sympathy with the argument to bring her back. But as an adult, multiple times, she has praised ISIS, praised terror, so that makes her a threat.
Yeah, Benjamin, it would be a security risk to bring someone like who's joined a terrorist group whose comments don't seem to be too regretful about her decisions back to Britain.
I mean, I interviewed Shamima Begum a couple of years ago. It was during her glow-up period. I don't know if you remember. She turned up on the front page of the Saturday Times magazine and she was in big sunglasses and leggings. I said, you ran off to join ISIS and look at you now, you've joined ASOS. She looked completely different.
Give you, that's quite funny, actually, Benjamin. But she shouldn't be let back in here. Let's be on a serious note. She shouldn't be let back in, should she?
Well, first of all, in that interview, she said that she wanted to be a voice for counter-terrorism, to stop young people being radicalised, to avoid grooming of girls, as I think it's fair to to say she probably was as a child. People don't join terrorist groups as a teenager in normal circumstances. Now, I think the problem is, on the one hand, I definitely believe she's a danger. Security ministers have said that if the public knew the intelligence they had, then there would not be sympathy. But at the same time, she only had British citizenship. The Bangladeshi claim has been rejected by Bangladesh at all stages. You can't make someone stateless. And so actually...
Why not?
Well, because then where would they live, right? And so...
That's not our problem.
The question...
I get that.
It is our problem, because it is our problem.
I get the
if you did it the other way round, there could be terrorists stuck in Britain because other countries won't take them back.
I mean, I won't comment on that. But what I will say, and I get the policy points on that. I do understand that argument. I also get to a point now where I just think, do you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I'm so sick of us having to bend over backwards constantly for people that hate our country, hate our values. She made a decision. She didn't show much regret for making that decision, quite frankly. She's also buried the child with this, we assume...
Many, 3.
Yeah, I might assume, by the way, and I'm not saying I know for sure, but I might assume some of those men might have been quite radical extremist Islamists, right? Those children are not going to love our values either.
Well, she had 3 pregnancies where the children died, which would be deeply traumatising for anybody. But look, the question I would say, you talk about hating our values. Are we not failing our values when someone can be refused their citizenship because their parents were Bangladeshi, which is the only way she would have a claim? What message does that send to people in this country
It says don't go and join a terrorist group.
Who are ethnic minorities and from other parts of the world through their parents?
Well, it says don't go and join a terrorist group, and then you won't have your citizenship.
To your point, then, the other counter-argument to that would be that then, because they have a claim to statehood, we should allow someone who is a threat to our nation to come back. Why on earth would we do that?
But she doesn't have a claim to any other state.
Imagine, God forbid, that she did come back here and then down the line, a year or two, she ends up being involved in some sort of terror attack, ends up being involved in an horrific attack where more children die, attacks similar to those that she's actually praised. Well, then, we would be absolute fools to have let her back in. Had she not, as an adult, praised the death of children, how can that not be a security threat? How can that possibly not be a security threat?
But given that they say there's the intelligence she's a security threat, then she would be in prison in this country. She would be facing consequences. Is it really the case that because you have a mum or a dad that was born somewhere else, that you can then be stripped of your statehood and just leave you floating around the world forever? And I might add that if you're concerned she's a threat, well, she would be a threat with organising in terrorism in other parts of the world and helping people with her knowledge of Britain as well.
Listen, I just don't think we should be accommodating people who have joined terror groups, and I think the message we send to say it's OK, you've gone and done all that stuff. You didn't really show much regret in the press when you were talking about it. I think the message that sends is you can go do this. The ECHR has got your back, and it doesn't care about the security and the human rights of British people. If they get killed in a terror attack, sorry, that's your problem. That's not our problem. We've done our job, which is defending this woman's citizenship. Nobody cares. Unfortunately, British people want to be kept safe, and we see time and time again, like the Ala El Fattah guy who's come here, he should never have been allowed into this country, never should have been advocated for by the British government, which I think is worse than this, by the way, what they've done, because at least she's not here yet, he is. And now, once again, British people are scratching their heads. The ECHR has a massive role to play, doesn't it? And we should just leave it, shouldn't we, Christo?
I'm a bit torn on the ECHR, and I'll tell you why. Because Denmark is a member, yet they've managed to have far stricter rules. I can't help but feel that we are potentially, I'm not against it, but we're potentially going down a rabbit hole with the ECHR of talking about what would replace our being in there and spending all sorts of time on there, when in actual fact we have made political decisions to allow people to come here that other nations who are members of the ECHR don't make. They don't make those decisions. Denmark is a member of the ECHR. They've got far stricter rules when it comes to deportations.
We'd have to legislate here to change the way we interpret the ECHR.
And it's because we've no faith in that. That's why.
The bigger issue is the Human Rights Act in Britain, actually. Tony Blair's Human Rights Act, which basically bends over backwards to places like the ECHR. But, Benjamin, do you think leaving the ECHR would help us to stop situations where the ECHR is basically saying you must, or probably will say to us, I would have thought, you must take Shamima Begum back?
Well, we're not going to take Shamima Begum back. There's no way a UK government would do that at this point. No, I think there's no chance whatsoever, because what would be the benefit of it?
The benefit of taking El Fattah here?
And, well, I'd just say one thing. First of all, Denmark is the right example. Other countries have also had stricter interpretations of ECHR. This government has changed it, so your right to a family life is being interpreted in a different way. So I think, you know, if if you're angry at these decisions, blame our politicians and their interpretations and maybe their weak backs at not standing up to the questions, rather than thinking that there is some simple answer.
But unfortunately, I think people are so sick to death of successive politicians not having their back. And it's a little bit like Brexit, actually, that there were some things that we could have done without leaving the EU, but successive politicians didn't do it. We could have had more of a control of immigration. So I think the electorate are so furious, they just say, well, you know what, we want the whole thing torn up. We want it all gone, because we've no faith in any of the people in Westminster to have our back.
There is a danger, though, with this Al Fatah guy. His tweets are disgusting. I would call him extremist, sue me if he wants. I would say he's a racist by saying that we should kill Zionists. But he is a UK citizen at the decision made under a Tory government, and so I just think it's incredibly dangerous to say that a Prime Minister can unilaterally revoke citizenship based on tweets with no criminal convictions. It might feel the right thing to do in this case, but actually the precedent you're setting there is incredibly dangerous.
Well, I don't think the Prime Minister would unilaterally be allowed to do it legally. I think
that's what the
change the law.
Yeah.
I think they have to change the law, wouldn't they? And I think that the reality is that passport, the citizenship that was given to Al Fatah, is a piece of paper. It should never have been given to him. It was a civil. It wasn't the fault of the Tories that it was awarded to him. It was a part of the rules where his mother had citizenship. She could pass it on to him. It's part of a mechanism.
Except that
for a long time, it shouldn't be there.
They could have blocked it at that stage in a way that you can't now.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. By the way, totally agree. I'm just pointing out that it's a mechanism that we should change, by the way, because I think we devalue our British citizenship quite dramatically when we say anyone can get it. I just don't believe that should be the case.
There lies the issue. The issue is not so. I mean, it is obviously an issue, but it's not so much as to where we are now. It's to how on earth he got given that citizenship in the first place, why that due diligence wasn't done, and what we do in the future.
Indeed. Right. Well, the Home Office spokesperson said this: the government will always protect the UK and its citizens. That is why Shamima Begum, who posed a national security threat, had her British citizenship revoked and is unable to return to the UK. We will robustly defend any decision made to protect our national security. There you have it. Well, don't forget to join us from 10 o'clock tonight for our New Year's Eve coverage. I've got Bev with me, Ben, Leo, Miriam Cates, and Darren Grimes is making a triumphant return too. Ring in the new year with us here at GB News. Why not? We're going to have so much fun. We've already started drinking, so I mean, I really don't know what's going to happen by 10 o'clock. So yeah. Anyway, coming up, we'll be taking you, I think I meant to say, over to Hampstead Heath and Edinburgh as people begin to gather to watch the fireworks. See you shortly.
Bowl.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
So this is a lovely story because it's about a chap who bought this DB5 and he bought it for 900 quid. This is an Aston Martin DB5.
It's a lovely car.
Bought it for 900 quid. And then for 50 years, pretty much didn't do very much. He moved to the Middle East, car left was on his driveway, things happened, the local kids jumped on it and various other things, and it just decayed. He has spent pretty much the big wodge of 400 grand having it done.
Do you have a picture of this car now?
Oh, I thought as I was waffling. Well, I can hold it up. But this is how it looks now. There we go. This is how it looked then and now. I don't know which.
So he spent 400 grand on this.
400 grand. He sent it back to Aston Martin.
Oh.
To where it was made, and the reason it's worth now about $1 million is because there were only 37, I think,
39
of them made, and so it's very rare. There we go. Well done, him.
Pretty penny on that. Good for him.
Yeah. Yes, and good for him.
He hasn't made it yet.
No, he hasn't made it. It's just worth. He may. He could.
I was reading a story about a man who'd spent £1 million on a DB5, and it's now worth 500,000. But
Right,
they
okay.
hit a peak a couple of years ago. But who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
But don't you want to put something on a car in order to use it, not to sell it?
Well,
I mean,
he's just...
I had a car like that. I drive it.
Of course. No, then that's what... He's not selling it. He's worked hard to... He said, we've worked hard to get it
It is a work of art.
reconditioned, and he loves it.
I wonder, does it have machine guns and things they're going to...
Oh, no, weirdly, it says no.
Or an ejector
no ejector seat, exactly. Or any of those other things, yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. It's New Year's Eve and preparations are underway across the country as millions gather to bring in 2026. Can you believe it? I don't know where this last year's gone myself. And we're going to go straight over to GB News national reporter Will Godley, who is in Hampstead Heath, where people are gathering to watch the fireworks. Will, it's one of the only places the public might be able to get a good view for free, hey?
I'm going to go travelling.
Certainly is, Alex. Yeah, Happy New Year to you. Here from Parliament Hill, where people are now gathering, bringing picnic blankets, bringing deck chairs or camping chairs to set up for the evening here on the hill, bringing drinks and snacks as well. Ready for a good time, people in very good spirits, and the Floyd family even bringing sparklers for people to enjoy. Let's get these lit, because they've been making a lot of people very, very... everyone's been enjoying these so far. Let's chat to you. What's your New Year's resolution as we're bringing in 2026?
My new resolution will be keep fit. By the way, I work for NHS, so enjoy your life. Don't give up. Hope is there. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, so don't give up. Have fun and live good life.
Well, an amazing bit of advice there. Thanks for working for the NHS. And what a amazing thing sparklers are. I always like watching them on New Year's. And the Common family here, you've come all the way from Southampton. How come you wanted to make the trip?
Yeah, so we've always been seeing this online and, you know, everywhere from Australia, on BBC and all other channels. And so today we just thought, you know what, we're going to make the way all the way to London and, you know, just have a nice viewing of the fireworks and celebrate the New Year in style.
Amazing. And you're here as a family. How are you finding the cold?
Whoa, I'm from Kenya, and this is really cold. really cold. yeah, but...
you've got sparklers as well. And what about 2025? How's 2025 been for you?
2025 has been a lovely year, you know, a lot of challenges, a lot of ups and downs, but we made it. And so going into 2026, it's all about just bringing the positive vibes, just being happy, and, you know, just get a sparkler near you, you know what I mean? Just be happy, and yeah, let's celebrate 2026 in style.
And what about you? What are you looking forward to for 2026?
Just more fun experiences. Just have more fun next year, really. Be more social, do everything. Yeah.
Amazing. Nice outlook for 2026. What about New Year's resolutions? Have you spoken about any of them this evening, waiting for the fireworks?
Yeah, I think for me it's more of just action, just going for my goals, and I'm ready to go. Yes, 2026.
And Mum, all the way from Kenya, here for the fireworks this evening. Are you excited?
Very excited. Grateful for 2025, but excited for 2026. Really looking forward to exciting times for 2026.
Amazing. Well, thanks for chatting to us on GB News. Lots more people gathering here on the hill, ready to bring in 2026 with an amazing firework display, of course, over the South Bank here in London, which we're hoping to get an amazing view from here in Hampstead Heath.
Ah, brilliant stuff. Will Godley, Happy New Year to you. Of course, I'm going to see you throughout the evening tonight. I hope you stay warm, get lots of sparklers there. Of course, watch the fireworks. Can't wait to hear what you think of them. Will Godley, thank you very much there, live from Hampstead Heath here in London. Well, thousands of people are also gathering in Edinburgh, Scotland for one of the world's biggest New Year celebrations. Trust me, I've been. It is phenomenal. The Scottish capital, long regarded as the home of Hogmanay, is hosting its famous street party to ring in 2026, and none other than GB News reporter Bethany Elsey is there for us. Bethany, brilliant to see you. Happy New Year, happy Hogmanay. What's the vibe like in Edinburgh, Bethany?
Absolutely buzzing, Alex. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you too. You're absolutely right. Around 60,000 people are coming to Edinburgh for the famous Hogmanay celebrations. There's about 2,000 people already gone that way, and so many more already queuing up at the gates. And I've made a few friends, so let's chat to them. I'm joined by Claire and her family now. Claire, where have you travelled from today?
We've come from Rosendale, Lancashire.
And it was about a 4-hour drive, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what are you most excited about for the Hogmanay celebrations today?
Oh, I can't wait for 12 o'clock for the fireworks and the dancing.
And you've got a very special someone watching at home. Would you like to give them a shout out?
Yeah, Dave, Dad, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Dave. And we'll just go over here and we'll talk to Zonia and her little boy. You guys have travelled from Brighton, but originally from Cuba. What are you most excited about for Hogmanay tonight?
Well, Edinburgh is well known for being like the best party in Europe, and then we came to join.
And how far did it take you to come here today?
It was 8 hours driving, non-stop.
And what are you most excited about tonight?
I want to enjoy the party with everyone else.
And do you have any New Year's resolutions?
No, just have more fun probably.
Just more fun, that sounds pretty good. I think we can all get on board with that. And Natalie and Anya, you guys have travelled from Bath and Hong Kong. I feel like that's probably the furthest distance away for all the people I've spoken to today. How long did it take you to get to Edinburgh?
It's 15 hours flight.
Okay, definitely an award needed over here. And what are you guys, why Scotland? Of all the places to travel in the world, why have you come to Scotland?
It's a massive celebration.
Yeah?
I saw online.
And what are you most excited about tonight?
Fireworks.
There's a common theme here, Alex. Everyone is absolutely buzzing for the fireworks above the Edinburgh Castle, and I can't wait too, because it's my first time here.
Bethany, I absolutely love it. There's something very magical about Edinburgh this time of year, and Scotland in general. I miss my New Year's Eves in Scotland. Happy New Year to all of you in Edinburgh. I can't wait to join you, well, virtually at least, later on throughout the evening. Happy Hogmanay, all of you. Have a great time. And a little Happy New Year to Dave as well, that first family's grandfather. Happy New Year, Dave. Thanks for joining us here on GB News. Hope you can stay tuned throughout the evening. You never know, they might be back on your screens again. Well, coming up, Iranian security forces beat up and fired tear gas at protesters as the Islamic Republic struggled to contain its biggest outbreak of unrest in years. That'll be next.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, are you heading away for the new year? Well, there is some unsettled weather, some cold weather across Europe, in fact. Storm Francis is bringing some very wet weather to the Canaries through New Year's Day and into the weekend, as well as parts of Spain and Portugal. Comparatively drier for more central areas, though it is colder than it usually is at this time of year. The good news is, though, as it turns colder for the UK, it will slowly start to warm up into next week in the east. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, this is your GB News weather forecast coming to you from the Met Office on this, the last day of 2025. Much colder weather to come as we go into the new year. It's going to be windy in the north and plenty of showers too. That's because there's an area of low pressure near Scandinavia that's driving a cold northerly wind across us, and it's this that's pushing in plenty of showers, mainly across Scotland, and here they will be turning increasingly wintry as we go through the night, but some showers pushing into parts of Northern Ireland, the far north of England, maybe North Wales as well through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Further south, staying drier, but an early frost before cloud pushes in, lifting temperatures. So for many, when we get to dawn, it will generally be a few degrees above freezing. Then through tomorrow itself, while it is cold, And it is also going to be wintry. Some snow showers across parts of Scotland, particularly the northern half. Watch out for some difficult driving conditions with snow and ice building up. A few showers across parts of Northern Ireland. Quite grey, quite cloudy here. Much brighter across northern parts of England and also southern Scotland. More cloud for central southern England and Wales through the morning. There is a sort of front pushing its way through, and that's bringing some outbreaks of mostly rain, but there could be a bit of winteriness, a little bit of sleet or snow over the higher ground. That then pushes its way southwards. We do then end up with a few showery bursts of rain across parts of Wales, western England maybe, and also Northern Ireland. Meanwhile, we continue with the snow showers piling in across northern parts of Scotland, which is why those snow accumulations are going to build up. It is going to be a cold day. Temperatures a little bit below average for the time of year and feeling colder in those strong winds. Then heading into the 2nd of January, well, we stick with that cold northerly wind, continue to bring plenty of showers of snow to northern parts of Scotland and some wintry showers feeding down both the western and eastern side. But in between, lots of dry, sunny weather to be had. More cold northerly winds bringing snow showers and areas exposed to them as we go through this weekend. Happy New Year.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to State of the Nation here with me, Alex Armstrong, only on GB News, of course. Well, mass protests have erupted across Iran, calling for death to the dictator in the biggest outbreak of that unrest in years. Well, yesterday, the regime's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps beat up and fired tear gas at protesters. Yeah, the protests were originally sparked by the economic crisis that has gripped the Middle Eastern country in the past few months. But they've morphed into a wider anger at the Islamic regime's draconian restrictions on women and the country's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. Well, let's get the thoughts of my panel on this. Journalist Benjamin Butterworth and broadcaster Christo Fufas. Benjamin, I'll start with you because you spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I've actually been to Iran. I'm probably one of the only people that well, apart from my own family, that has actually been there. I just want to say that it's such a beautiful country. The people are incredible. And what strikes me about Iran that's so different to many of the other parts of the Middle East that we as Brits consider, we think of Afghanistan, we think of many other countries that are actually quite, you know, dilapidated and broken down and a little bit behind us. The Iranian people lived in a time before the Ayatollah and his rabble of Islamist terrorists took over, in my opinion, where it was one of the most liberal countries in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you were describing to me earlier about how beautiful Iran is. Iran is a beautiful country of beautiful people that have been controlled by an Islamic dictatorship since 1979.
Yeah.
And, who knows whether these whether these protests will sustain. 3 years ago, we had the Women Life Freedom protests that were brutally cut down. But I think Iranian diaspora around the world will be praying that this means that it is the end of the Ayatollah. I was in Israel in June when Iran and Israel had the 12-day war, and I spent 5 days in a miklat, in a bomb shelter, under missile fire from Iran. And let me tell you, the people of Israel were praying that the Ayatollah would be gone so that the Iranian people would be free. There was no hatred between those two countries. Yeah. But Iran and its Islamic extremists are the biggest threat to the world, but for China and Russia. And we should not underestimate the danger and hope that this changes things.
And they have been funded funding, as far as we're aware, Hamas and other terrorist organisations.
Hezbollah, the Houthis, they are behind them all. They are behind the axis of evil of Islamic extremism in the Middle East. And, you know, when I've been in Lebanon and Syria, I can think of particular people I've met there who say that they want anything but the Iranians to survive. They know that their quality of life, their freedoms, have been crippled by Iran's funding and its colonialism in the Middle East.
Indeed, yeah. Christo, what do you think?
Islamic extremists in Iran. I'm surprised you're not advocating for them to have citizenship, Benjamin, brought over and be looked after like you want Shamima Begum to be. I mean, I find it such a fascinating place. I've never been to Iran. I don't know loads about it, but I do find it fascinating what you were saying about how liberal it was. The photographs of that nation prior to 1979 are just unbelievable, and it's completely unrecognisable now. I mean, what is unbelievable is that the Iranian government have said that it recognises the protests and would listen with patience even if it is confronted with harsh voices. Well, a lot of nonsense that is. I obviously, people, if this uprising continues and becomes something far bigger, it's going to take people dying. It's going to be absolutely brutal and bloody, but wouldn't it just be amazing if Iran could go back to what it was?
It would be so incredible, and that country has so much to offer the world. I mean, it was the Babylon of the world at one point in time. It was the home of so many millions and millions of people. It was the first one of the first civilized countries in the world, and it would be a real shame. It's such a diverse country. I will say this though: where are the protesters? Where are all these pro-Palestine protesters?
Indeed.
They just seem to forget all of a sudden. It's only one. They can only stick to one thing at a time, can't they? Then this really wouldn't suit them, in my opinion, Benjamin, because they're not extreme enough. I think that maybe they might support the Iranian government.
Well, Babylon is in Iraq, not Iran.
No, I know, but I was making metaphorically speaking. It was a Babylon. It was a
But I mean, you're absolutely right. You know, when there's no Jews, there's no news, right? As far as these people are concerned, they just wanted to hate on Israel. But let's not underestimate the threat. I did a 6-month investigation for the newspaper a couple of years ago about IRGC, the terrorist group that controls Iran, and their agents that operate in the UK. I spoke to an Iranian man that they tried to kidnap him into the back of a van outside his flat in central London. I spoke to a man whose dad was waterboarded in Iran because of things he said in Britain. I spoke to a Jewish community leader who was no longer allowed to go out with his grandchildren because he had death threats on his grandchildren's lives in North London where he lives. And so these Iranian agents of this Iranian regime operate and try to kill on British soil. And the logic and the approach of Britain and the West has been to turn the other way, to not antagonise them. And it is a chronic, historic failing of Britain to not take on this Islamic regime.
Iran is also, I think, a warning to the West. It's a country that should bear warning. Their country was taken over, and it was a small group of Islamist radicals, extremists that took over Iran in part of the revolution, and of course have destroyed the country. They have ruined it. It used to be a very prosperous, free country, and they have destroyed that. It is a warning to other countries around the West, because it doesn't take a lot of people to take over a country. 5% of the population is what they estimate it roughly was, to take over a country and overthrow the democratic or leadership or liberal leadership of the time.
But then to what extent? I mean, if they pose a direct threat to the United Kingdom, well, then, you know, there is that to consider. But also, I mean, when we were looking at what was happening with Iran and Israel, I was one of the people at the time saying I have absolutely no appetite for us as a nation to start interfering in that region again. I mean, we had our fingers burned with Iraq, that we never really had an exit plan there. Afghanistan, we left in a complete mess. To what extent should we be involved in these
Can I put this to you? Because Trump has made a decisive decision to bomb Iran. He took out their nuclear power facilities, didn't he? And those quite targeted precision missiles, he claims. That might have changed the game here, because before, under the leadership of Biden and Obama, there was these nuclear deals that were giving Iran millions and millions of dollars every year. That's clearly made an economic difference, considering what's happening today in Iran.
Yeah, and it's a fair point. And it's whether I mean, the benchmark has to be whether there is a direct threat from these nations to the United Kingdom or indeed to the West. That, to me, is the benchmark. And the problem is that that we're all so scarred by the dodgy dossier in Iraq. When is that threat credible and when is it not?
Good point.
But I would say if Iran succeeds, the West falls. It is one of the most dangerous countries because we have mutually assured destruction with Russia, for example. They won't use nuclear weapons because they know their country would be destroyed minutes later. But with the Islamic regime of Iran, they believe in this afterlife of their extreme version of Islam, and so they don't care if they destroy the rest of us. This is, you know, the last State of the Nation of the year, and having been in Israel during the 12-day war, I would say that after this year, the whole world owes Israel a debt of thanks because it is the only country that had the guts to take on the Iranian regime, take on the Ayatollah, and take on their nuclear weapons. And none of the rest of us have done that. And it is a danger that threatens not just Iranians, but anybody who believes in liberal Western democracy.
And you know, that is the cry wolf scenario that we're in. Because I think now, because of, you know, I know I keep going back to Iraq, but because of that, there will be real credible threats that have taken place since. There are real credible threats. And the first reaction is, we don't want to go down that road again. I don't think that we can ever underestimate the damage that dodgy war in Iraq did to our nation and to our security.
Indeed. Well, thank you for... listen, I know international affairs is not always the most, you know, interesting topic, but it's something very close to my heart, having been there and having Iranian family. I was really inspired to talk about that this evening, considering this is going to impact so many millions of people, not just here around the world, not just here in Europe, but everywhere around the world and the West. And I really hope they can take their country back from those very evil people that have stolen it from them. Anyway, listen, don't forget, tonight, you can join us for our New Year's Eve special with some amazing friends of mine. Bev Turner, Ben Leo, Miriam Cates and Darren Grimes is back. You're going to be ringing in the new year in style with us here live on GB News. All right, coming up, we're looking onto celebrations tonight with our reporters on the ground. We'll see you in a tick.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, it is coming up to a new year, and maybe some people are turning into our way of thinking, spend too much time at GB News. Bill Burgess says, Iran, Alex, it's not often I agree with Benjamin. However, when it comes to Iran, he's spot on. Benjamin,
thank you.
You've been on here for too long. You're becoming popular.
In the final hours of the year, I get my first nice comment on GB News Your Say. Thank you, Bill Burgess.
Yeah. First and last. Let's make New Year's resolutions, everyone at home. All right, come on.
Poor Bill Burgess has been at the brandy, clearly.
We love you, Bill. Thanks for writing in as ever. Listen, people across the UK and Ireland are preparing to ring in the new year. In Dublin, thousands are gathering even for the city's New Year's festival. GB News reporter Doogie Beattie is in Dublin for us. Doogie, dare I ask, have you managed to have a Guinness or a pint while you're there? What's the atmosphere like in Dublin?
The atmosphere is really starting to get going here. You can see we just walked down through this is historic Temple Bar. It's well lit, all its festive lights still on. Fitzsimmons Temple Bar behind us, one of the very famous music bars in this area, and people within the last 10-15 minutes have now really started to gather. They're starting to attend these pubs, all waiting for the big finale at the end of the night, of course, the fireworks, which is in the castle just behind us, about 3 streets over. And I don't know if we can find anybody to talk to here. See if there's anybody who will talk to us. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. No, nobody talking. Excuse me.
Hello.
Yeah. How are you out in the town?
Yes.
And what are you expecting this evening?
Well, we're going to Cafe on Seine, so we're going to have a dance.
Oh yeah. And then are you coming out to see the fireworks?
Maybe. I think we should now.
Depends how lucky you are in the dance.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you. Yep, so there you go. Some of the revellers out and about, and we'll be here for the rest of the evening, right through, to get a real flavour of what's going on in Dublin. This is the entertainment capital of Ireland on New Year's Eve, north or south.
Absolutely phenomenal, Doogie. I can't wait to see the people celebrating on the streets of Dublin tonight with you throughout the evening. I hope you stay warm. I don't know how cold. It's pretty cold here in London, but I can't imagine if it's much warmer there in Ireland. Listen, Doogie, we will see you very, very shortly. Thanks for being there. Let's cross live now to GB News reporter Isabel Feculag, who is in Cardiff for us. Isabel, what's the scenes like in Cardiff?
Well, I've been in town earlier, and it was starting to pick up in town, crowds gathering, the bars were getting really busy. We've now moved into the Bay, the Cardiff Bay, here for an event that's fully booked, one of the busiest nights of the year for this business here, and there'll be fireworks here later on as well. We'll be speaking to people at this event throughout the night. We'll be getting their vibes, but on the ground in Cardiff, it was really picking up. It was starting to get busy. It's freezing here as well, -1 degrees, but if you look out onto the bay here later on, we're going to see an absolutely beautiful display of fireworks overlooking the lovely bay here in Cardiff.
Wonderful, Isabel. I hope you get to enjoy some of the festivities in Cardiff there. Thank you all very much for joining us. I'll come back to my panel here. I've just had an interesting Your Say here, and I can't work out whether this is his name is Tommy Grimes, and he claims here, he says, Alex, tell cousin Darren to smarten himself up. I was looking very scruffy earlier on in that dinner jacket, wasn't he, Benjamin? Good old friends. You remember the good old days of the Saturday Five? We used to argue for hours.
Yeah, and you still host that programme, I think.
Do, yes, I do.
Yeah, no, I think Darren Grimes looks fantastic tonight in his bow tie and his cheap jacket. So
you couldn't help yourself, could you?
At least he's in a tie and jacket.
Well, I was going to say, all one.
He's outdoing me. I'm like Magic
the
Mike.
The audience are asking me to tell them to do your buttons.
It's like Magic Mike with so many buttons undone.
Do you know what? Even as we're heading to the end of the year, your delusion and audacity does not reduce, because you, of anyone being in a position to criticise someone's sartorial choices when you look like you've literally shopped at a jumble sale is unbelievable to me.
Well, it's lovely to see you in the same jacket you wore on Christmas Eve as well.
I'm afraid I've been on so many times, I've rotated as many as I can, whereas you're not asked on that often, are you?
Oh dear, right, listen to you two. Yes. Call it down. Darren, of course, Darren Grimes making his triumphant return to GB News here in the studio, will be with us. I mean, what time is it now? So we've got almost 3 hours' time. Darren is going to be here for New Year's Eve panel. It's going to be so much fun. Honestly, it's going to be great. Let me just read out some of your comments here. Tim Dartmoor says, Benjamin Butterworth, have a happy new year. I don't agree with you. Maybe when you're older, you'll understand why. Yeah. Older and wiser, you see, Benjamin. You're getting there.
Oh, yeah. If you have a few more brandies, you might start agreeing with me. That's what I recommend for New Year.
I think it might be the other way around.
I don't think anyone recommends drinking that much.
Yeah. Neil says, love Doogie. He had a tipple and chatting up the pretty girl. She was a very pretty girl, wasn't she? I mean, Doogie just caught her by chance, I think. There we go. Lots of you writing in. Peter says, poor Benjamin, his first like. I'm sorry to inform him that person had been drinking all day. There we go. Me too. Now I'm going to hand it over to the one and only, the man of the evening, as ever. Patrick Christys is here tonight. Patrick, what have you got coming up for us?
Everybody in the studio and at home as well. We're going to be ringing in the new year by bringing you the fireworks displays across the world, but also to recap what's been a fantastic year for GB News. Thanks to all the viewers and listeners. I don't think the government would have U-turned on the farmers if it wasn't for the work that the viewers and we had done here. Same when it came to a national inquiry into the rape gang scandal, and loads of other stories as well. So we're going to be recapping that. And will 2026 be the year of the return of Shamima Begum? All of that and much more.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, this is your GB News weather forecast coming to you from the Met Office on this, the last day of 2025. Much colder weather to come as we go into the new year. It's going to be windy in the north and plenty of showers too. That's because there's an area of low pressure near Scandinavia that's driving a cold northerly wind across us, and it's this that's pushing in plenty of showers, mainly across Scotland, and here they will be turning increasingly wintry as we go through the night, but some showers pushing into parts of Northern Ireland, the far north of England, maybe North Wales as well through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Further south, staying drier, but an early frost before cloud pushes in, lifting temperatures. So for many, when we get to dawn, it will generally be a few degrees above freezing. Then through tomorrow itself, well, it is cold, and it is also going to be wintry. Some snow showers across parts of Scotland, particularly the northern half. Watch out for some difficult driving conditions with snow and ice building up. A few showers across parts of Northern Ireland. Quite grey, quite cloudy here, much brighter across northern parts of England and also southern Scotland. More cloud for central southern England and Wales through the morning. There is a sort of front pushing its way through, and that's bringing some outbreaks of mostly rain, but there could be a bit of wintriness, a little bit of sleet or snow over the higher ground. That then pushes its way southwards. We do then end up with a few showery bursts of rain across parts of Wales, western England maybe, and also Northern Ireland. Meanwhile, we continue with the snow showers piling in across northern parts of Scotland, which is why those snow accumulations are going to build up. It is going to be a cold day, temperatures a little bit below average for the time of year and feeling colder in those strong winds. Then heading into the 2nd of January, well, we stick with that cold northerly wind, continue to bring plenty of showers of snow to northern parts of Scotland and some wintry showers feeding down both the western and eastern side. But in between, lots of dry, sunny weather to be had. More cold northerly winds bringing snow showers in areas exposed to them as we go through this weekend. Happy New Year.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too.